By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you need to start doing right now to protect and shield your team as a Scrum Master. We have a lot to cover here today in this video, and I promise that I'll try to keep it as short as possible while still maximizing on value. Let's dive in. First, it is a well-known fact that the Scrum Master should be shielding and protecting the team. But where does that come from? Well, as per the Scrum Guide 2017, the Scrum Master helps those outside the Scrum team understand which of their interactions with the Scrum team are helpful and which aren't. The Scrum Master helps everyone change these interactions to maximize the value created by the Scrum team. This was wrote in the 2017 guide and changed. Now, the latest version, the 2020 version, this was removed and replaced by helping the Scrum team focus on creating high value increments that meets the definition of done. Previously, the Scrum guide was telling you how to manage these interactions with people outside the team, but now the Scrum Master should support the team, help the team focus on creating high value increments. That should be their only focus, and it's hard to do because interactions with other people outside the team, distractions are very common. The Scrum Master will be constantly protecting, shielding the team from all these distractions, all these interruptions from people outside the team who are trying to make the team not focus on creating high value increments. That should be the primary focus, the number one focus of the team every single sprint, creating a valuable working increment that can be released to customers. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you how to handle all these situations, interruptions, distractions, but the general mindset as a Scrum Master when protecting, shielding the team should be shielding, protecting, but not isolating the team. Co-creation is key. We want to involve everyone in our journey to satisfy the customer. We want feedback on our ways of working, our ways of communicating, our processes, and especially the product itself. We want to know if the product we are building is satisfying the customer, the wants and needs of the customer. And to know that, we need feedback from everyone, all the stakeholders. We should welcome feedback, but still the right kind of feedback in the right place to the right person. I see so many Scrum Masters protecting, shielding the team so much that people start complaining that we can't talk to the team because the team is isolated. They work on their own. You can't provide them feedback. And people start feeling that the team is hiding things. And this transparency is gone. Now, very important, the first thing you need to do even before starting to protect or shield the team, most Scrum Masters miss that, but you need to inform the stakeholders, people outside the team. Tell them, inform them that it's your role to protect the team, to shield the team, and it's for the benefit of the company, of the team, and the product. You're trying to help them focus on the right things. If you don't do that, many Scrum Masters don't do that. But if you don't do that, the stakeholders might get angry that you're preventing them from talking to the team. They might feel that the team is isolated, hiding things. But when you tell them, they give you the freedom to do your job. They understand it, that is for the benefit of a company, of a product. And they will not find ways to go around you and talk to the developers. And it's also a benefit to the team itself because the team feels protected so that we can focus on the real important thing, meaning creating a working increment every single sprint. And the team is also the one telling you each time a developer feels that they are being distracted by people outside the team, interrupted by people outside the team, they can inform you, the Scrum Master, so that you can help them and talk to this stakeholder or this person outside the team and make them understand. Because if you don't do that, how will you know that a developer is being distracted, especially when working remotely? Now it's time for the fun part, talking about some common distractions, interruptions from people outside the team, starting with the manager. The manager is someone of influence, of power in the organization, power on the team, on the project, on the roadmap, on the product itself. As mentioned earlier, feedback is good. Everyone should be able to give feedback to the team, and also the manager. The manager should be able to give feedback. But what I don't like is the manager using their power and influence to tell the team what to do. That's not feedback. That's a command and control approach. You're not giving feedback, you're telling the team what to do. Remember, the team is self-managed. As per Scrum, the team is supposed to be self-organized and self-managed. They decide what to build, how to build it, who builds it, and by when to build it. And managers, like going into the team instead of being simple stakeholders, giving feedback, they go into the team and tell the team what to do, how to do it, by when to do it, and even assign work to people inside the team. I've seen countless examples of stakeholders making decisions for the team without consulting the team, estimating work for the team, setting a release date, a delivery date, and telling the team that they need to abide to this date, telling the team exactly what features need to be in the product, forcing them to build these features. This is not self-management, this is not self-organization, and this is not Scrum. Scrum is not compatible with this type of command and control. So as a Scrum Master, you should be protecting the team from all these examples and any type of distractions that you feel is not as per the Scrum framework, or distracting them from focusing on creating a working increment every single sprint. The second type of distraction that I see very often is the requester. This person doesn't have any influence on the team. No, they can't tell the team what to do, but still they talk directly to the developers, bypassing the product owner. The developers, hey, can you just check that for me? Can you do this little thing for me? It's distracting the developers, because the developers, they have already committed on a certain amount of story points or stories in the sprint. They have committed on an amount of work to do, and when one person is distracting them, hey, can you just check that for me? It's distracting them from meeting the sprint goal. And if one person is doing that, it might seem okay, but it's usually 10 people doing that every single day to all the developers. That's a lot of wasted time that should be used to focus on completing the increment of a sprint. In this situation, just talk to the requester, the stakeholder, and inform them that they should go through the correct process. And talking about correct process, what's the correct process? The first thing you need to do is make the backlog, the product backlog, visible to everyone in the organization. They can't add things to it, no, especially people outside the team, but it should be visible. Everyone should know every stakeholder should know what we are working on in priority, and then inform the stakeholders that we need to go through the product owner, because the product owner decides on the priority of the backlog. They shouldn't be allowed to talk to developers directly. That's a distraction for developers, because they are working on important stuff, and there should be a way to easily and regularly communicate to the product owner. What I like doing next is talking to the Scrum team and asking them how they want to handle these interruptions, these new requests, this unplanned work. I know some teams that meet once a week. The product owner for the whole sprint is collecting feedback, collecting this unplanned work, prioritizing the work, and if the product owner feels that these things are a priority, talk with the team once a week and clearly take something out of the backlog, of a sprint backlog that was committed on, and replace that from this new unplanned work. We shouldn't be adding things continuously to the sprint backlog. That's a distraction. The team has already committed on a set of lists of things to do. All new requests need to be compared to the current priority. If we feel that this new request is a more priority than items on the backlog, replace it. Just not add things to the sprint backlog. The Scrum Master should also be protecting the team from internal distractions. A very common example of that is a product owner that's a little bit pushy, setting deadlines, giving the team delivery dates or deadlines. No, the product owner should focus on why we are doing something and what we are doing something. The rest, the how, the who does it, and by when to do it, that's the developers who decide. If a product owner is constantly pushing the team, do more, why are we so slow? As a Scrum Master, protect the team. Tell the product owner to back off a bit, the team needs rest. But it also works the other way around. If you feel, as a Scrum Master, that the team is well rested, having fun, tell the product owner that maybe push the team a little bit more. It works both ways. You shouldn't be taking sides as a Scrum Master. And the last thing I want to talk about, very underrated, is protecting the team from being complacent. When you work together for months, years, a Scrum team is very consistent, very predictable. Same velocity every single sprint. They have a way of working. They like working together. They know how to work together. They are really good at delivering a valuable working increment every single sprint. But at some point, they start believing that improvement is no longer possible. We already reached the gap of improvement. As a Scrum Master, jump in and inform them, teach them, help them understand that improvement never ends. There's always room for improvement, and we should be continuously improving as a team, as individuals in the team, every single sprint, every single day. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile Scrum personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.